guys, welcome back to another Funded Trader interview. We have Ugo here, and he just earned a 200K account. Ugo, you mind telling everybody where you're from?
Hello everyone, how you guys doing? So my name is Ugo. I currently live in Bournemouth, United Kingdom, but I'm originally from Nigeria.
And Ugo, what's your educational background?
Right, so I've got an undergrad, a BSc in finance and a master's degree in sport management.
And so what do you currently do for a living?
So I do two things. So in terms of work, I work in the healthcare industry, and I'm a fitness trainer.
And so how did you get your start in forex?
Right, so I started trading. Well, I found out about forex 2 years ago, around June 2020. A friend of mine called me and told me to come on a call. Come on this call, and this is an information that will change your life and blah. So I was like, all right, cool. And I went on the call, and they told me about forex. I joined the company, and at first I didn't believe people made money trading. I only thought people made money in the other side of what the company offered. But as I progressed, I really started immersing myself in the education that the company actually provided, and I joined a team of people that actually traded in the company. So in the company, there were two types of people. There are people who claim to be trading and never trade. They just act and front it. And then there are people who actually do it. And there are people who don't do it at all, right? Now, the people who don't do it at all, who push on the other side of the business, I have no issues with people doing that. My issue was always people who claim to do it and not do it. But blessed and humbled as I am, I got blessed with a team of people who actually did it. So I was directed and shown the path on what to study in the academy, and I really put my head down after a whole lot of losses, and that's how I started my journey in forex.
And how long have you been trading?
Forex, I started trading forex with signals when I first joined. For like 3 months, I blew multiple accounts of an average of over $2,800. So I stopped. And then 2021 beginning, I went into binary options. And that's when my real trading started. I started learning and really understanding candlesticks through binary options. And I traded binary options all through January to like April before I went back to give forex a go. And I never funded a live account again. I went straight up into prop firms. I was like, I'd rather use this $500 to hopefully get 100K than put this 500 that I know that I potentially will blow. So that's how I got into forex again and prop firms in general around April 2021.
That leads me to a follow-up question. Knowing what you know now, what do you wish you did differently?
Honestly, there are 4 things I would say. Firstly, I wish I took my time and understood that these Instagram traders, most of them are not traders. Because every single time I kept on shooting to make what I thought they were making trading. And that was always my biggest downfall. Secondly, I wish I understood how to break down trading into numbers rather than pips. For me personally, people have different strategies. For me personally, what started working for me was understanding this amount is good enough. $200 in a day is good enough. $500 in a day is good enough. So I wish I knew that earlier. I still struggle with that sometimes, but like that I've got a lot better, and I thank God for binary options that helped me get that vision. But I wish I had broken it down into steps and into figures, and understanding that it would take time, but it's better you go that way than shooting for the stars and making $100,000 like this Instagram traders always preach they do. So that was the second thing. The third thing is I wish I learned that, you know, any strategy works if you follow that strategy to the T. But when you learn a bit of this indicator, a bit of that indicator, a bit of that smart money, a bit of Fibonacci, a bit of Wyckoff, then you start trying to do too many things all at once. It never works out in the end. So I wish I understood that early and stuck with one and just kept on growing. And finally, I wish I recorded everything I did, my feelings, my emotions, and my trading earlier.
You know, that was a very loaded response, and I think everyone watching right now, they kind of agree with you, and they kind of feel that same the same way that you feel with the things that you wish you did differently. And that kind of leads me into, you know, my next question, and that's, you know, how much time do you think you spent every day, you know, studying and putting time into this?
So I'm going to say this, right? In terms of studying, I was already trading before I decided to actually put in the work to study, which is very stupid. But I would say I was not taking time to backtest. A lot of what I learned today was from front testing. So seeing it occur and blowing the account and saying, oh my God, that was the mistake. And then doing it again and doing it again and doing it again. So if I count this number of hours whereby I sat down and watched my trading red the whole day, then I've probably spent more than 10,000 hours studying. But actually learning the concepts and the strategies of trading, I started putting it in my diary to do at least 2 hours a day, because I work long days as well. So I position myself to study this skill at least 2 hours a day.
And so, what is a hard lesson that trading has taught you?
You know what? Yeah, like, I don't think there is an amount of money in my life currently that I could lose that I would feel it anything about. I've lost so much that, you know, I'm just like, yeah. It's good, but it's bad, because it makes you start to understand to remove your attachment to money. But if you learned it from someone else's experience rather than you going through that process, it would be better. But I've lost a lot that I have lost the attachment to making so much money and losing and feeling the pain of losing that much. So that's one big thing that this journey, this process has taught me. Don't get attached to the money. Just grow steady.
And so this is more so a question about your trading and your habits, right? So do you find yourself mostly setting alerts and then coming back to the charts to evaluate, you know, if you should take a trade or not? Or are you sitting in front of the charts, watching the market, getting a feel for things and executing right there?
So it's the second one mainly for me, because I trade at around the same time every single day, and I trade the same thing every single day. So I look for the move I want to get when I'm at the screen at that point in time. If I don't see anything around that point in time, then I might look to set an alert. But if I decide I want to trade the London session 8 a.m. UK time to 10 a.m., that's the time I'm looking at what the market is doing. and what he had done in the past. And then I look for any entry points during that time. And I take the amount of pips I'm going to take that day, make the amount of money I want to make that day, and I'm out. Or lose the amount of money I'm willing to lose that day, and I'm out.
And so what was your first impression of the funded trader, and how did you find us?
So my story, I have to say, I think I'm going to, it's going to be a bit longer because I heard of funded trader from Blake, but prior to that, I was in another prop firm. I maxed out the prop firm, and you know, I had a conversation with Blake, and he was telling me that he's gonna start something. And Blake is someone who, in this industry, I truly trusted. He brought me into the prop firm scene, and he is the definition of someone who's not an Instagram trader. You will never see him flaunt anything. You don't know what he has, you don't know what he wears, you don't know anything of the sort, but you know that he knows the skill. So I respected him a lot. I watched a lot of his videos, watched a lot of his criticisms of other firms. And so the moment he said, okay, look, you know what? I'm a trader. I've seen what these prop firms are doing. I'm going to start mine. I said, I'm definitely going to go with him. And to make matters better or worse, the other firm I was with decided to disappear with my 300K account. So I was like, yeah, if I'm going to go to anywhere else, it was either straight up FTMO, or if I was going to trust any other firm, I'll go with Blake. So that's how I joined Funded Trade.
And so what motivated you to become a funded trader in the first place and seek funding?
So there's this quote I love a lot. It says, the moment your mind has been expanded into different aspects of life, it can never be reduced anymore. So when I started trading binary options, I grew to having a good amount of account. So I couldn't see myself going back to trading $100, $200, $500. Personally, I couldn't do it, right? So I decided that, okay, cool. I'm going to take the route of trading for funded companies. The first one I joined, it was a direct funding way. And it didn't work out well for me. Then the second one, I maxed out the account. And what that made me learn was, for me, one of the biggest things a lot of traders have, especially new traders, is they never have a plan of withdrawal. They always make money and end up blowing it because they never took it out, right? So with the funded companies, they make you want to withdraw. Because number one, you're not going to take out the principal, which is the 200K, the 100K, the 500, whatever. You're not going to take it out. So you're always focused on withdrawals. That was the first thing. The second thing that really made me very interested in this aspect of things was the fact that you switch your mindset from growing an account to making a percentage of the money. And that's what I believe trading should be, making percentages, not doubling, tripling, and flipping accounts.
And so now it's the big question. How many times have you blown an account?
You know what, yeah? I think I've blown over 100 accounts. Both challenges, both personal accounts, and everything. I think I've blown over 100 accounts. On my personal YouTube channel, I have a video dedicated to my journey in how much I've blown. You know, I'll send you the link. You can tell people to watch it. But I've blown a lot. I am the definition of the worst trader that can be there out there. Like, I like to say that a lot of people come on here and try and say, oh, I'm a perfect guy, I'm good, I've done this, I've done that. No, I'm the worst trader that could ever be. And that's why I'm on here today, because I like to say, I am on here on this platform not because I'm better than anyone, but because I'm probably worse than everyone, so that people can see that if I can be here today, they definitely can do it as well.
And so, what would you say your favorite pairs to trade are?
I trade only one pair, I trade only gold.
Is there any particular reason for that?
Just because of the way it moves. I want to be in and out of the market and go ahead with my day. And gold gives you those pips movements that I need, and it follows my strategy per se. I lost a lot on gold, and I decided that was the one that I was going to learn. So I lost a lot and I made a lot from gold. So I stopped with gold, and that's all I trade.
And do you use any fundamentals in your analysis, your trading strategy?
Well, I check the news. I check the news during the time I'm about to trade. Then I check the currency strength meters just to give me a sense of what's going on. But then at the end of the day, it's more technical than fundamental for me. I always believe that the news is an excuse, me personally, that everything still happens at the point for certain technical reasons. Yeah.
And so this is another kind of a big question, but when you take a few losses or you have a string of losses, what helps you come back stronger from that?
I take a break. I'm not going to fight the market again. On my personal accounts, if I take a lot of losses, I withdraw my money. And then go start the whole process of depositing again and all that. On funded accounts, once I take a lot of losses, I delete my account from my MetaTrader 4. I delete everything. Go and do something else for a week. I don't do anything trading. I go back to analyze what's happened, study a bit more, and then I go back again.
With all that being said, would you mind giving us a quick insight into your strategy?
Sure, I'll give you guys a little nugget. What I use personally. So I'm going to break it down into a few things. I like to use partly Fibonacci, engulfing candles, and smart money concepts, and then Wyckoff. So, but me personally, I use these things as confluence to get my entry, get the amount of money or amount of pips I'm willing to get for the day, and I'm out of the market. So I'm going to just share my screen right now. This is gold. I trade only gold in forex. I literally love to start from the weekly. The month sometimes is too much, but you could also start from the month. It's just understanding where exactly are you in this trading pattern right now. But I just look at it for views. A few things I understand about gold is it wicks a lot. It wicks a whole lot. So what is always going to happen is the wicks are always going to get filled, always going to get tested. You would never really see where week to week was not tested. And what do I mean by this? In any time frame. This is just me personally understanding. This is not like a strategy, like it's just from noticing, right? A lot of times, there would be the next candle that comes down here is probably going to take gold to around 1854 before it goes back up. Because this last up week, the next candle is always going to retest around that area. That's something I personally have noticed on gold. If you break it down into other time frames, you probably see the same. Now, I've noticed that this has been a bit of a standstill, but it broke out here. I know it's going to come back to retest before it goes up. I understand that the market is now bullish. So I break it down more to see where can I get in for this bullish move? Where can I get in for the bullish move? That's all I'm looking for right now. Where can I get in for the bullish move? So if I go through on the hour, right here. Sorry, 1 minute. Just gonna give you guys an example of how I trade. Beautiful. So before this happened, you can see this candle right here is sort of an imbalance. And for those who don't understand what an imbalance is just simply a part in the market where nothing has been filled up. And the market is art. The market always ends up trying to fill out where it hasn't filled out before. So I trace this down to this area. Around this area, I look for where the gap is in the market. And this, for this trade, would have been, I'm going to just delete this and redraw it, would have been this space. So guys, I hope I'm making sense. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, you're making sense. I'm following you.
Cool.
No worries.
Right, so it would have literally been, this was the lowest the market went to. And before that, I told you guys this week. So in between this space is a space that had not yet been filled. It had not yet been filled. Now, in between that space, the market predominantly will come back to test 50% of that space, half of the gap, right? Just know that just half of the gap, it will probably come and, I get deeper, but I'm just gonna make it make sense a little. It come and test half of that gap. And that's what it did. Now, a lot of people say it was news that did all this. Yes, it was news that made it make sense into this area. But at the end of the day, anyone who understood this would have seen this imbalance here. I call it imbalance, a lot of people call it different things. And need to come in that space, right around that area. I personally, I want to put my SL right where that space, that candle ends. The second, okay, so I hope this makes sense as well. Not the first week, the second week of the previous candle, the 2 candles before, the week of that candle, that's where I like to put my SL at. And I'm only targeting the liquidity up there that was made prior. I don't care what the market decides to do afterwards. I'm only targeting the liquidity that was made prior. So it comes in right here and goes all the way up there. That's basically how I would have been out of this trade around this area. I would have already been out of this trade here. That's how I normally take my trades. If I don't see this happen, I would not take a trade that day. Now, if I don't see these things line up, I will not take a trade that day.
Now, trading a strategy like this, what would you say your average risk to reward is?
So normally 1 to 2. So 1 to 2, I'm out, I've broken even. And then anything that goes ahead from that, I thank God, and I'm out of the market. But I love to break even because the market, your money held is a lot better than how much you could have made going forward. But I love to test. Boom, the moment the market goes 20, 30 pips, I've already moved my SL to break even. I've already moved my SL to break even. I have a figure in my head. I check for 1% of my account balance. The moment I've made 1% of my account balance, I'm taking profit, letting the rest ride. If it goes back to hit break even, I don't care. That's always what I do. And then normally, I always get 1% of my account balance after like 20, 25 pips. I've taken out the profit, and then anything that happens after that, I'm happy with. So I would have missed over 400 pips because I'd have got out around here. But that's how I trade. I don't look at what the market did afterwards. If he wants to go 200 pips, 500 pips, I don't care. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll see the same thing play out again on whichever time frame.
And what would you say your average win rate with a strategy like this is?
If you use this well, you're going to win a lot more than you lose, probably 70% of the time. But the thing about it is, nothing is 100%. You could use this and it hit SL. So you go ahead, and this is what used to happen to me when I started off. I go ahead, I want to re-enter, and I hit SL again. And before you know it, you've lost more than everything else you made, even though the strategy was a 70% win rate. So I have how much I want to make for the day. If I see it, I take it. I also have how much I'm going to lose for the day. I always have how much I'm going to lose for the day. And that's always, it's not 5% of the account balance, it's 5% of the drawdown balance for me.
And how many of these setups are occurring every week on average for you?
I take one trade a day. 1 or 2 entries for that particular sell. I take 1 or 2 entries of that day. It always occurs, especially on gold, because gold moves very quickly. It always occurs. The same thing I've done right now, you could break it down to a lower time frame, because I always like to get my entries on the 5-minute time frame. You could break it down on a lower time frame, and you would see the same thing occur. You would always see the same thing occur in gold. Always, every single day. If you were here, I'm going to look for another opportunity right now. If I wanted to take this trade right here, I've seen this is broken down from this structure. Boom, it's always going to go back up. And a lot of people see this and be like, I'm going to enter here. Gold is always going to take out that liquidity, that SL that's going to lie here. It's always going to do that. So I'm going to take it from here down here. That's my fee level. And where the entry will be is literally at the 61.8. With my fibs, I'm trying to get into 61.8 or 78.2. Once this lines up with, you would see what this lines up with right now would be this imbalance right here. Sorry, let me delete that. Just going to draw. So this is going for a sell, obviously. So this right here, you would see there is an imbalance in between this space where it almost filled in before it dropped. So I would get in with that fib level entry and because of this imbalance. And the moment I've got 20, 30 pips, I've moved my SL to break even and just ride. Sometimes it takes me back out, other times it goes down. But every single day you would see it. Every single day. Every single day, especially on gold, you will see the sell.
Ugo, I want to thank you for sharing your strategy with us and sharing your story. You know, for our viewers at home, you know, where can they find you on social media?
Right. So my YouTube name is Ugo the Eagle, and that's the same with my IG, and that's the same with my TikTok, Ugo the Eagle.
Gotcha.
So obviously there would be some fake accounts trying to take money from you. No one who is legit is going to ask you for money or for Bitcoin or for any of that. So please don't force count for any of these things. But yeah, Ugo the Eagle.
All right, and those are going to be linked down in the description as well. Ugo, once again, I just want to thank you for coming on, and I wish you the best of luck in your trading journey. And I hope to do this again with you. You know, when you get a big withdrawal or you get that 600K, you know, combined account.
Yeah.
I'd
Oh, we
love to have
haven't
you
told
on.
them though. I said the next time I want to come on here would be to say I'm maxed out funded trader.
Absolutely.
That will be done. That will be done very soon.
Absolutely. All right. Well, until then, you know, thank you, Ugo, and goodbye.
Goodbye.